Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to the true cost of the most advanced aircraft carrier, and yeah, my interest in aircraft carriers has peaked a lot recently. I didn't really know what they were a few weeks ago. I've obviously seen them before, but I didn't know much about them, and now, yeah, I'm really interested in them. They're so interesting in terms of like the fact that they can do all these things whilst just being like this little island in the middle of nowhere, but then they have all this control, all this power. And then there's like their own little world going on behind, like I guess under them and stuff. It's so fascinating to me. But yeah, this is just another reaction that I saw pop up. I don't know what other videos you'd want to see because at this point I'm reacting to a lot of stuff, so there's not going to be much left. But if there's other videos you want me to see, let me know in the comments because I would be definitely up for doing that. But yeah, we're going to jump into this. Hopefully you're going to enjoy. Links are in the description to my Patreon if you want to see some more of my reactions that I can't post to YouTube, and just completely different sort of content and like films and series that again I can't post to YouTube. So yeah, you can find my Patreon in the description if you want to see that. But we're going to jump into this and see what the true cost really is. Did I say the title? I don't know if I did, but if I didn't, you can see it here.
These 40,000-pound underwater bombs are just another test before the U.S. Navy's largest and most expensive aircraft carrier is declared combat ready. The USS Gerald R. Ford is the first in a new class of carriers with more firepower and a smaller crew. The previous class began service in 1975. The Ford was designed to save billions over a 50-year lifespan.
What the hell?
Still, the Ford was double the cost of the last carrier built, and it's been plagued with unexpected costs and delays.
What's going on here? Is there like a little crew just under here as well? What?
And delays. Just unclogging the toilets can cost $400,000.
I guess a year.
We went aboard the USS Ford.
I guess all the prices they're going to say are yearly prices. Unless it's just since it's been functioning, because $400K a year would be a lot. But
Ford to find out why America's most advanced aircraft carrier still can't be deployed nearly 2 decades after plans to build it began. These sailors are moving ordnance onto a new kind of weapons elevator that allows them to do what would be impossible on any other aircraft carrier.
We're bypassing the mess deck area. We're completely independent. You would never even see us moving ordnance throughout the day. So it's more secure with higher survivability, and we can store more on board.
oh my
It's
days.
the only way to move munitions from deep inside the Ford to rearm planes on its flight deck. Less advanced carriers move weapons in a more dangerous way, through the hangars to the flight deck. There are 11 elevators on board, yet only 7 are fully functioning. Until all 11 elevators are complete, this ship can't be certified for deployment. The advanced weapons elevators are just one example of nearly 24 major new technologies that make the USS Ford cutting edge and one big floating experiment. Tal Manville is a retired Navy captain who served as the very first project manager on this new class of aircraft carrier.
The ship was supposed to start construction in '04. It got moved to '05. They made an adjustment. They delayed it a second time. They delayed it a third time. Pushing that out, the ship, just by those delays, went from $6.4 billion to $10 billion.
The Ford is the first of 4 new carriers already in different stages of design and build. The Navy plans to replace the entire supercarrier fleet with Fords. U.S. law requires its Navy to operate 11 carriers at all times.
Oh, wow.
But with all the delays, the U.S. is down to 10.
The reason we have 11 is driven by the fact that the U.S. Navy is kind of a 2-ocean Navy, if you will.
Of the 22 aircraft carriers in the world, half are American, while China, Italy, and the UK have just 2 each.
This carrier class, if we build 10 or 11 or 12, could go easily into the 22nd century.
More than 5,000 shipbuilders worked an estimated 49 million hours to build the Ford. That's 7 times the hours logged building the Empire State Building. Admiral Mike Gilday, the chief of naval operations, said it was a mistake to introduce more than maybe 1 or 2 technologies on any complex platform at a time.
Admiral Gilday is right. What you want to do is only do 1 or 2 new technologies on a new ship. And here's the reason why. Ships are the only weapon that the prototype, the first of the class, goes to war on.
The ship was christened in 2013. The Navy accepted delivery of the ship in 2017 without everything working as a way to stay under that year's budget requirements. 4 years later, the carrier's systems and technology are still being tested, and it won't be ready for deployment until 2022.
Oh, mad.
So it can go to sea, pilots can take off and land, but the problems are still being ironed out before it's ready to go to war.
It's pretty clear that putting this many new technologies onto one ship was a mistake from a program management perspective, because it did cause the program to be delayed.
The delays and tests and fixes are so costly that every new piece of technology is over budget. 2 of the technologies that set the Ford apart from every other carrier are the aircraft takeoff and landing systems.
Some of those are very large, not incremental changes, but I would say revolutionary changes in terms of the electromagnetic aircraft launch system.
Yeah, it's crazy, so it just drags it along.
Other carriers use steam-driven catapults to propel their jets off the deck.
So this specific, this obviously the most expensive aircraft carrier has all this crazy stuff. So like you're saying, it's testing out these new things, which will make the costs for things even more. But I didn't realize this on this aircraft carrier, like they just have it. Their whole system is pretty much completely different. Like this aircraft carrier, like takes planes off in a different way, and yeah, has a lot of different ways. I guess it's just not as effective. This one, I assume, it's just not as effective and not as reliable. Like the cheaper aircraft carriers, which is crazy to say because they're all expensive in their own way. But yeah, what is the name? Actually, I don't know.
But the Ford uses electromagnetic linear induction motors, similar to a high-speed maglev train or roller coaster. Just research and design on the electromagnetic aircraft launch system cost over $1 billion.
Jeez.
Installing it on the USS Ford cost more than twice what it was supposed to.
The steam catapult system had thousands of moving parts. There are less than 100 moving parts on an electromagnetic catapult, so that was a big improvement.
Fewer moving parts means fewer sailors to operate and maintain. The smaller crew and new technologies were projected to save $4 billion over its 50-year run, compared to the previous class of aircraft carriers.
The reaction.
The new system causes less stress on the planes, so they last longer.
Oh.
And more types of aircraft can use it, including ones that are still being designed. Landing and takeoff are easier on pilots too, since a computer does the work.
The pilot turns over control to the computer. It autopilots the airplane down to the carrier deck.
That is crazy. We're now relying on computers to land the plane, but it's safer. That's wild. How long has that been happening for then?
And then when it hits that advanced arresting gear, it just smoothly brings it to a stop. So it's a dramatically different experience for the pilot. It's much safer. And then it's also going to make the airplane last longer.
What?
The Ford's computerized systems allow both lighter and heavier planes to take off and land, something that limited older carriers. The Ford's combination of new technologies means that a wider variety of aircraft can land on it.
It's smoother arrestments for aircraft. That is our goal here on board for future of naval aviation, flying drones and F-35s.
Oddly enough, the new launch system can't handle the newest fighter plane, so the Ford will need a retrofit to handle the F-35 stealth fighter.
Oh, wow.
The next Ford-class carrier is under construction in the shipyard, but it's already being modified for the F-35 at an added cost of $315 million.
Jeez.
Many of the Ford's delays can be traced back to politics. 5 American presidents over 2 decades weighed in on the planning and building of the Ford.
The Department of Defense made the aircraft carrier program far more expensive than it needed to be. And you can take that to the bank.
So far, the true cost of building this warhorse is $13.3 billion.
Oh, that's more than some country's net worth.
A number that's increased nearly every year since construction began.
Right? I think
Even the most basic of onboard functions can be eye-wateringly expensive. The ship has 750 toilets connected through vacuum pressure, like the system on commercial jets. When one toilet gets clogged, the whole system can be affected. The fix requires an acid flush that costs $400,000, and the Navy has said it doesn't know how often it will need to be done. The Navy changed its shipbuilding programs when the Ford's problems came up. It began designing and testing the takeoff systems on land in 2011, while the Ford was under construction. The advanced weapons elevators are also now being tested before installation. However, that program will only benefit the next Ford-class carrier. Built as a deterrent, the true value of the Ford is likely to be in the wars it helps prevent, rather than those it wages.
Damn. Well, the more you know. The Ford is costly. It's been plagued with unexpected costs and delays. Pretty much sums up every single military project. It's so wild to me that the US Navy is the second largest air force in the world after the US Air Force. Wait, what? Actually, that's kind of true because it is the Navy. The Navy is literally half of it is just the Air Force. The whole focus on it is still like with planes and stuff, right? That is kind of wild. For all you civilians, military overpays for everything. I've seen a tiny bolt cost over $100. The same one costs $5 at Home Depot. I'm sure that's going to piss people off. If the USA installs RGB lighting on it, it will go to at least 30% faster. But yeah, the Ford aircraft carrier is pretty crazy. Wait, let me just search. What is the most advanced, what is the most advanced aircraft carrier that's not owned by the US? Because it said China, the UK. Did you say Italy or did you say India? Maybe it was India, I think. And we have two, right, in the UK. So will the UK ones be just being used the same as the US ones? Like the US will just be always functioning them around, like having them. They want them in use constantly. Will that be the same with the UK aircraft carriers? And I assume they work together with the US, but I'm not too sure. But it's interesting. I mean, wait, they're going to need more. Britain readies for a naval build-up. I don't know what that's about, but which one is it? This one. But yeah, the more you know, right? Hopefully enjoyed this reaction. If you want more of these reactions, I'm 100% down for that. But yes, suggest what you want to see next. And until next time, like, subscribe. Peace.